Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Fast Expand and Game Social. My name is Chris Ivermee, aka Tetcher, and today I am here with one of the players who has managed to get through to the ESET UK Masters Final 24, and I believe this is the second time he's got through the BYC to get to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Infused Jamesykins.
Yay!
Really enthusiastic, as you can tell. He's so excited about getting through. And you're one of the few players who has managed to get through the BYC twice. In fact, I think you're one of the only ones. How does that make you feel?
I'm pretty happy. I mean, it's nice to be somewhat consistent. So, you know, it sort of proves that last time wasn't a massive fluke like some people might like to think. But yeah, I'm pretty much chuffed and over the moon.
Sounds good, sounds good. And who was in your group stage to get through this time? Who did you have to play to get to this point?
Unfortunately, I had my teammate Saber in my group, as well as Droller and another player whose name escapes me right now. So I had to effectively, knock Saber down, and then I beat Droller and the third player to get through to the brackets.
Okay, sounds good. And obviously, as I said, you were in the last ESET tournament, which had half the prize pool that this one has. How do you think the introduction of ESET and how they've been raising the game has affected iSeries?
The vast majority of it, obviously very positive. You get a lot of European talent coming over. There's a lot more, it's a lot more it's considered more of a major tournament now, as opposed to just like a UK LAN that UK players go to. Unfortunately, it's more difficult for us UK players to actually, advance, but at the same time, obviously, it's more competitive, and yeah, it's just great for the UK scene as a whole, and especially iSeries, yeah.
So do you think the introduction of all these incredible players coming from Korea and Europe will force the UK players to raise their game another level?
I think that's an absolute necessity if we hope to, take anything away from this. And I think it's also a good proving ground for UK players. A lot of UK players are up and coming, and when they come here, they'll only beat other UK players, so it's hard to establish yourself. But if you're beating players like TLO, or you're beating a Snoop, or even one of the Koreans, then that sort of stamps you on the scene and people become aware of you. So it's great exposure.
Well, speaking of the TLOs and the Snoots, who are you really worried about in this ESET bracket? Like, you know who's in your group at this point. Who are you worried about in the group? And if you get through that, who do you think is going to be your serious competition?
Well, in my group, I'm terrified of everyone. I mean, like, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, great, I don't have one of the Koreans, which was like, a big plus for me. But then I started looking at it, I was like, okay, so I've got Rhett. That should be tough. And then I had like, Night End, and then Zictamini and Randy and so on and so forth. So I looked at all the players I had, and then it dawned on me that although I don't have to play any of the Koreans, every single series will be incredibly tough. And then if by some miracle I do advance, all of the Koreans, especially 4GG, look so strong.
Okay, but the thing is, last iSeries we were on Wings of Liberty. We've now moved on to Heart of the Swarm, and you've managed to remain consistent, like you said, and you have your back in GM like you were on. Were you GM on Wings actually?
I only got GM on Wings after everyone switched over. I was High Masters on Wings, and then I managed to just about get GM in HOTS now.
Fair enough, and well, you've managed to stay fairly consistent. You managed to get back into the ESET top players basically. So how do you think HOTS has really affected it? What do you think of the new units?
It's different. I mean, because it's such a new game, everyone's still figuring anything out. Like MLG, a lot of Terrans and Tosses picked up builds, a lot of Zergs sort of figured out how to hold stuff off, mainly because of life being so good. So although it's still a new game, everything's sort of fresh, I think it's already better than Wings was. I mean, you don't have the stagnant sort of every matchup seems to be the same thing over and over again. You could play a best of 5 and every single game would be completely different. I think it's just a great game.
So it's not just Sentry Immortal all-ins in PvZ like it was in Wings?
No, they had a mothership core now. So I mean, they have 3 units. But it's good. There's like a lot more Stargate-based play. There's some Colossus-based stuff, even just gateway pressure. It's all viable. There's nothing that's like so weak or so useless that it's not worth trying.
Can I just ask, how many iSeries have you been to at this point?
To play Starcraft, this is my 4th. And then in total, I came to I-43 way back when, so this is my 5th.
Okay, so you have been to a few. You've had your fair share of iSeries. What is your favourite thing? Why do you enjoy? Why you keep coming back?
Well, Well, for starters, it's pretty much all we have in the UK as far as like good LANs go for Starcraft. I mean, there are other things dotted around, but like by far iSeries is the most significant. As well as that, there's a huge social aspect. I mean, like you only get to see a lot of the people that you speak to online most days, like 3 times a year. So by all means, it's like, you know, a huge deal to come here just for the social aspect, as well as competing and just the whole fun of it all. It all factors in.
Okay, and I feel I have to ask, we keep going back to last iSeries, but last iSeries you weren't on a team, and after your amazing performance there, you were picked up by Team Infused. How do you think that's affected you in the fact that you now have this team support and the practice partners that Infused offers?
Joining Infused has been huge. I mean, when I was playing for myself, I didn't have any pressure, I didn't have any sort of, well, not that I didn't have motivation, but I didn't have that sort of team behind me pushing me to get better and better and better. Since I've joined Infused, like I've been able to, you know, have teammates like Caldi, Saber, Lau, really, you know, good players that help to push me. As well as that, there's like management like Leon that help, you know, just all over the shop with any sort of needs. So all the stresses are sort of taken away at LAN, and all in all, it makes gaming a lot more enjoyable and yeah, just a better experience.
Sounds good. So I believe we're done, but are there any shout-outs, any thanks you'd like to give before we finish up?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, friends, family, like just for general support, especially my mum and dad. Infused for, you know, paying for me to come here and just supporting me in general. And Snitchables. Shout out to him as well, especially him.
All right, sounds good. And if you want to see more interviews like this or any other StarCraft 2 content at this level, which I think it's a pretty good level. I think it's a good
absolutely.
level. Yep, so please head over to youtube.com/FastExpandTV.